On June 16th, I was down here with Brian, Tim, and Ray, and we were pulling honey out here. Had a really nice little honey harvest here in Slocum, Alabama, and we noticed that one of the hives was honey bound. So we immediately addressed the issue right then and took the steps to hopefully fix it. About 2.5 weeks later, on July 4th, I came down here and went through and did a follow-up video on the colony. It was doing great, and the video dropped last night. Today is July 15th, and I have a confession to make. Due to some very astute and observant viewers, Grant and Mark, on my channel, I realized that the hive that I did the follow-up on was not the same colony that we fixed with the honeybound situation. So I'm here to make it right today and go through the actual one that we tried to fix. I hope it's doing okay. So if you go back and watch the video that dropped last night, the one about the honeybound hive, you'll see that the video was filmed from this angle about right here. Brian Lee filmed that for me. He was one of the ones helping. And this is the colony that I worked on right here. And we do still have bees going in and out of it. That's good. I hope they're doing okay. And for some reason, when I did the follow-up, I was thinking it was this colony right here. And as you know, the colony was doing really well if you watch that video. I hope you go ahead and watch the video because it was something to behold. So the obvious question is, Bruce, when you discovered that it was the wrong hive, why didn't you take the video down? Well, I'm glad you asked because I have an answer. I talked about it with my wife and actually talked about it with Yappy Bee Man for a while, and decided that we would leave it up. And the reason is this. It was really a good video, I thought. It not only did it explain kind of how we fixed the honeybound situation, but it was one of my better inspection videos. I think I explained some stuff quite well going through the colony and pointed some things out that I don't always do. So I hope you're not irritated at me for leaving it up even though it was an inaccurate depiction. But today is all about fixing the situation and going in and finding out how the colony is really doing. I really am all about transparency. I want everyone to know that. I've tried to be transparent on my channel. I don't show everything I do, but I do show a lot of things that many people probably wouldn't show. So I hope you'll forgive me. Let's dive into this colony right here, which is the actual colony that we fixed that day, and see how they're doing. I hope they're doing okay. I'm gonna try to use this veil today. I hope I can get away without using the bee jacket on this hive because man, it's muggy out here and humid. Not real hot yet, but South Alabama, July, miserable. I was just down here yesterday and I'm gonna show you real quick. If you watch this video, you'll get to see kind of one method I use to help treat for hive beetles, a little bonus. Thank goodness we have bees. That would have been bad if there were no bees in here after doing that follow-up video. One of the methods I use to treat for hive beetles is similar to the Swiffer sheet method, except I use Dixie H700 disposable towels. And they look kind of like this when I'm treating the hive. I just put this in here yesterday. I typically take these towels, they look like this when they're new, and I tear them into thirds. You could go fourths, I guess, like this right here. I rip them and lay them lengthways on the colony like this. Some people will fold them up and kind of put them in the corners. There's a concern about queen loss and so forth if they get caught in the towels, but I don't think I've ever had that happen. I don't know that I have. Very few bees get caught in these towels in my experience, but once the bees rough it up a little bit, it just catches the beetles like crazy, and have to replace these towels fairly often. These bees are just starting to rough it up a little bit here, so it really hasn't caught any beetles yet, but if you come back in a week or so, and this thing, I imagine, will be kind of riddled with beetles all in here. So what I like to do is put a towel on top of each box, like between the brood box and between the honey box and everything else. You can do it however you want, but that's just something I've found to be effective over the years. I also want to give a shout out to my friend Brian Lee, who watches the channel, and we were actually just talking on the phone a few minutes ago, but he has a laser engraver and he engraved this hive tool for me. I think it looks pretty cool. Just thought I'd share that with you. So we got a few bees in here. The truth honestly is that after treating for a honeybound colony, you might not expect there to be a tremendous population here because there was not much brood in there. And so it makes sense the population would decrease a little bit until they're able to build back up again. But let's take this honey super off and see what's going on beneath. We definitely have a hive of bees here. See, we got some beetles starting to get caught in here a little bit now already, so that's good. So in the initial clip, if you watch the video, we were pretty much honey bound, I think, what, 4 or 5 frames in. Had a little bit of area for brood here and maybe on a couple of these frames over here. So what I did was we removed the outer frames of honey, spread out the middle, and then put two empty frames in the middle. Start off with this outside frame that we just moved out. Yeah, that looks more like the original video, doesn't it, with the pollen and the honey. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing this. I just wanted to let y'all see how the actual colony was doing. I felt obligated to be totally transparent and show you and kind of correct the error. This is another frame that has primarily honey and pollen. Don't really see any eggs or anything in this frame. This is an old frame of black comb, though I probably should actually replace that with something a little better. Yeah, I'm gonna actually get a nicer frame and put it in here. That thing needs to be retired, I think. The old black comb, the hexagonal shapes are actually getting round. They're not even hexagonal really in this area anymore, this drone area. They're starting to get after me a little. This is another frame I think we put in here. Bees are working a little bit, but really nothing going on as far as eggs being laid. This honestly is the time of year when the bees start to breed back anyway. We're probably in a dearth right now, and it's just, they're kind of chilling out. This frame now, we got some nice brood being laid here. Eggs, larvae all through here. Same thing on that side. The bees seem to be more on this side of the colony, which means that she's probably laying over here. There's more brood on this side, more things for them to tend to. Larvae up in here, brood, and some of this may have been in here before. I think this may have been an area in my original video where I saw eggs possibly, and now it's developed into a brood. It's possible that there may have been some honey over here that they've actually cleaned out and made a place for her to lay. But they seem to be happy, they seem to be doing well. She definitely has some room to lay now, and the bees are doing okay. Yeah, on this frame we've got all stages of brood. We got brood over here, some larvae and some eggs. They might have actually cleaned some of this honey out, may have eaten some of the honey, and she might be starting to lay in some of these areas. This is very interesting right here. This is a brand new little bee that has deformed wing virus. Not sure how well you can see her, but she will never fly, and that is a sign, I believe, of a possible mite problem. So I need to treat for mites. I've actually, and I know what people say about using oxalic acid vapor in the summer when there's brood. I've hit them a couple times with it already. Probably gonna order some Apivar and put in here as well. I'm gonna hit them another time or two. I think I've hit these girls twice, if not 3 times with oxalic acid vapor, and then do some mite checks. And if there's still a mite problem, I'm gonna get some Apivar strips and put them in here. Just trying to keep the mites knocked back some right now. Haven't had a chance to order the Apivar or get it installed. This particular Slocum bee yard is notorious for beetle issues, and of course, you know, you can have mites anywhere. So just wanted to share this with you. Looks like they're kind of moving to this side of the colony over here. It's almost like their food is on this side and they're brooding out that way. But they have really eaten through some honey stores, I think, since we were in here that day, because in that video it seemed like they were just really packed out with honey, and now it seems like there's more room for her to lay in some of these frames where they had some honey stashed before. I don't see her, but I have seen eggs. I have seen really what I need to see. What I'm going to do, I think, though, is I'm going to move them this way. And I'm actually going to take a frame of food from this side over here, a food frame right here. See, they've even, I think they've even eaten through some of the honey stores on this frame. I've got honey and pollen on there, but I'm going to go ahead and slide it over here to kind of get the brood area more centrally located. Here's a frame that I found here in the bee yard. Looks a lot better, looks more healthy. I think I'm going to put it right in the middle of this brood right here. I'll give her some nice comb to lay in if she wants to still. But the truth of the matter is that she is probably just going to be brooding back now anyway with the dearth here, with winter approaching. There's not a whole lot going on right now as far as flowers blooming, and so it's just natural for the bees to kind of back off on population a little bit right now anyway. I hate those things. That's a little method you can use to kind of get rid of a few of them. The bees are starting to get a little agitated with me, so I think it's about time to close them up. We're gonna put this frame of food on this side over here. Lay the towel out like that. Yeah, they're stinging me a little bit. They've had enough of me. And frankly, I think I've had about enough of them too. I may also put some beetle blasters in some of these as time goes on. I've had good success with the towels over the last couple of years though, but whew, I'm glad they're doing good. Man, it's humid out here. I'm glad I was able to come back and do that follow-up for you, and I'm glad the colony is still alive and doing well. It looks like they're plowing through some of those honey stores, but now that queen has plenty of room to lay, I think they're gonna be just fine. You don't know how much I appreciate your viewership. It means a lot to me. I'm gonna leave a link to the original honeybound video right here. Y'all take care. We'll see you next time.